The G303 Shroud Edition. If you don't want to watch the whole video, I get that, okay? Long, for the TLDW, I think that's what it's called, Too Long Don't Watch, there's the gist of it. If I wasn't a mouse enthusiast that was buying every single mouse in existence for the sole purpose of improving my aim, this would be my main mouse right here.
You're an asshole, dude.
Scanning ahead. No more.
One enemy remaining.
Look at you.
So I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. Try not to drag on too much about certain details, but we're going to get to the shape last because I could talk for ages about the shape and why I think it's suitable for you if you have a specific grip style like I do. So let's talk about the stuff that makes it a really good Logitech mouse. First of all, the build quality. The build quality for this is incredible. It is roughly about 74 grams in weight, and it actually feels really well distributed. You know, the weight doesn't feel too heavy on the front nor the back. It feels really nice and actually feels quite good. I tend to find that I usually like a mouse that weighs between 65 to 75 grams. Anything too light, and unless I have a really comfortable grip, I kind of just lose it, and it feels a bit too, it makes my aim a bit shaky, but anything too heavy and it feels like a brick. Whereas this falls just on that sort of point where I'm saying this is just about acceptable. But it does the job, I think. I think this is going to be a perfect weight for a lot of people. It comes with a couple of features as well. So, for example, you can hide a nice little dongle in there. This is also USB-C chargeable, if we got a nice little view on that. Again, I'm going to go through a lot of these features quickly because I will talk about the shape for ages and why I think it is so good. And it comes in at around £100. Actually quite a good price for something like this, and quite honestly, compared to the other competition, this is one of the best built wireless mice on the market. Logitech tend to be at the forefront of it a lot of the times anyways. But I think I got the most of the things out of the way. The last things I do want to talk about is there's a couple of changes you'll notice. For example, I have super glides on these, which changed the experience for me. I love them to death. I love super glides. I might even do a video about them solely why I think they will be suitable for certain players and why they're not for other players. But the shape. His shape is weirdly comfortable. It measures at about 117 millimeters lengthwise, and at its widest is 70 mils. Now, typically, if you look at a lot of mice, they tend to follow a very certain 2-to-1 ratio. They tend to be long, but there'll be half of that going into the width, and tends to be where it gets the nice fine line between being comfortable while allowing you to aim really well. This kind of defies that due to the diamond back, well, not the diamond back, the diamond body, I should say, with a large hump towards the back. Now, what makes this mouse quite interesting is that how you grip it is going to be forced onto you. Compared to the Superlight that I reviewed a couple of months ago, where you could kind of grip it however you want. It was like a jack of all trades kind of grip. This grip has a very specific grip. You grab it by these sections of your palm, and then you claw it. You aggressively claw it. Now, the things I've noticed when you're doing it is that it gives you a nice bit of stability. It gives you that locked in feel, but allows for micro adjustments. Not a lot compared to other mice that allow for really large amount of micro adjustments, but just enough. Kind of like this. So you get a little bit of vertical movement, but it also makes vertical movement when sliding your mouse up and down on the pad really nice. Doesn't feel restricted in any way. And another thing that I also like about it is that it just feels right. it's a mouse that I thought that would take a lot of time for me, especially to get used to. But as soon as I gripped the mouse, it just instantly like that was just like a match made in heaven. It's a very weird combination, and I talked about it in my prior review how I prefer more aggressive style shapes, and this kind of proves it because it locks you into a certain grip style and it forces you to use the mouse in a particular way, and then you know how you're gripping that mouse all the time. One of the things I didn't like about the Pro Superlight or the G Pro Wireless in general is because of how safe the shape was, you couldn't really get a comfortable grip consistently. That's not an issue with this, but more importantly, this just allows you to kind of not worry about aiming at all, which is what a mouse should be doing in the first place. It's just so good. It really is. But there are a couple of negatives. Now, just because I like the shape doesn't mean you'll like it. If you don't feel comfortable doing an aggressive claw grip, then I wouldn't recommend this mouse at all, because it's going to conjure your hands in a certain way that you're going to either have to submit to it or you're not going to get anything. You can't really palm this mouse. It's extremely difficult. You can kind of fingertip this grip, this mouse, but it's just not as stable. And some mice it's quite stable, others not so much, but this mouse especially just doesn't really work. Claw grip is the way to go, and it has to be a specific claw grip. And if you can't perform that claw grip, whether it's too large for you or it's uncomfortable, then don't do it. I swear to you now, do not waste £100 trying to make this grip work for you, because if it just doesn't work within the first, I'd say, week or two, it won't work at all. And also, the switch is a bit too light for me. I don't like Omron switches that much because I find that they're very easy to click. In fact, let's get a sound test right in here. That's the sound test for you. And as you can tell, these are definitely using Omron switches. Again, a bit too light for me. I tend to sometimes double click, but that could be something that's down to me. I tend to have heavy hands, but I find that it's just too light, too snappy. Well, not too snappy, but just too light for me in general. And I can't really get that that nice sort of satisfying click that I know isn't going to up bounce and reactivate again. That's something that other mice that I'm testing currently right now don't really have a problem too much. But again, they're not using Omron switches. These are. But that's about it, really. This mouse is genuinely incredible and is worth your time if you fit that grip style. If not, don't get it. I tell you now, don't get it. Maybe abuse Amazon for the returns. They're really good. But I'll tell you now, if you want something a little bit new, want something that's a little different, actually not a little different, massively different, I definitely recommend the G303 Shroud Edition. This is, in my personal opinion, endgame when it comes to a claw grip. Until I find another mouse that's kind of endgame for me, but we won't talk about that. Okay, we won't talk about that. But it is definitely something special, and you should definitely give it a try.